I should probably turn off my phone.
Yeah, turn off your phone. Or you could maybe take some text because I hear Steve Moody's. Steve,
can I wear my Giant shirt? I wear my Giant shirt.
yeah, you can wear that shirt. I mean, it's just baseball. I mean, does anybody really follow that?
Well, that's in case KC's watching.
Yeah, because I think Mike is probably still whining about something that the Mets did last week, and some pitcher didn't make a start, or I don't know. Hey, we're back. We're live. Part 3 of our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for following us from room to room to room. If you are watching us out on Facebook, I think I got the link for the YouTube where the chat is going on. So you can ask away in the YouTube if you've got questions, because Randy's got answers for everything. I mean, if there's anything I learned on YouTube or on Facebook. How you doing, Randy?
I'm good. How are you, John?
I'm great. I am great. For a lot of you who may not know this, I mean, Randy has gone through this transformational, what is it now, a year and a half?
Almost. It's 17 months.
17 months. For those who don't know, say the people who are just meeting you tonight, can you give us just kind of a little Reader's Digest version about what brought you from where you were to where you are today?
Well, I was 57 years old, 300 plus pounds for a lot of years. And, when you're 30, 40 years old, you just think you're invincible, and found out I wasn't. And I decided I needed to do something about it. And to make a long story short, I ended up having gastric bypass surgery on December 26th of 2014. And since then, I'm down about 140 pounds, and now I'm a fitness guy, hanging out at the gym and eating food that's good for you, not just good tasting. So, I'm acting like a grown up. It's just basically I'm now a grown up.
How has that changed because we want to tie everything with the DJ world. Now, how has that changed your performance? Because I remember talking to you about 3 or 4 years ago, and you were talking about kind of an exit strategy, and you had X number of years in the industry, because my take from that was it was just draining, and it was just tired. You were tired. Has this changed that?
Yeah, but not in the way you would think. It probably is going to move my retirement up sooner.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was really planning on retiring. I'm 59 now,
mm-hmm.
So I was really planning on retiring totally at 62. Now the plan is 60.
Okay.
Because I'm really loving not working. I'm hiking and traveling and playing, and I'm like, I'm fortunately in a position financially that I can retire. I don't know what retirement will look like for me. I'm going to still do some events for a while. I'm still going to do some coaching, and I'll do some of that. So it's not going to be like I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm moving it up a little bit. I'm like, now it's become the running joke. I'm like, I didn't have to work this weekend. How cool is that? Where I used to be like, oh my God, I don't have a job this weekend. So yeah, actually, I'm enjoying it more than I would have imagined.
Yep, I know what that's like, and I agree. It's like,
I'm not a young man like you, John.
It's so cool to be able to have that. Wow, this is what normal people do with their families on a Saturday night.
Just no idea. In the last 3 months. I mean, we typically have a fairly slow spring anyway,
mm-hmm.
but I actually had a really slow May, which we just never have. And I only had a couple of things going on in May. And it was, gorgeous weather and everything is good. And now I've got, so I've got an event. I've got a Thursday wedding this week and a Saturday wedding. And I'm like, I have to do these events again. I don't get the weekend off. So it's changed. I would not have thought that was the case. But yeah, I'm enjoying life more than ever. It's, I didn't used to want to put on shoes because that was a chore. But now I can put on shoes without it, being a painful thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's been good. I'm trying really hard. In fact, everybody should put pressure on. I'm trying really hard to get Ryan Berger to allow me to do. I've got this plan for a really great seminar at Mobile Beat next year with not just me. There's several people out there in the business who have really gone through some big transformations, fitness wise. And I want to put together a seminar. And we're going to, no offense, but I'm excluding people like Rob Snyder and Marcello and guys who just live their life, have always been fit, It's going to be guys who weren't that way and got that way and how we got there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Marcello can come, but it's hard for people to look at a guy who's super fit, who's dedicated to fitness, and then it's like me, watching Steph Curry play basketball and then go, oh well, I guess I'll take up basketball. It's just so far away. So I'm hoping to inspire some more people to take that journey.
We got a question in the chat room, Randy. If you guys have questions, by the way, if you're on Facebook Live right now and watching it, we have the question chat going on YouTube, and the link should be there so you guys can bounce over to YouTube and ask those questions. Actually, there's a couple of them. One of them was, in retirement, are you still thinking you're going to be doing your speaking and some of your training things? Is that going to still be on the radar, or?
Yeah, I will for sure for the next couple of years. After that, I can't imagine a life for me where I'm not in front of people doing something. So I'm leaving it pretty open. I may do more weddings where I'm the officiant. I've done that. I've enjoyed doing that. So I may do more of that. I like coaching DJs. I think it's fun. I like seeing the light bulb go on. I still love performing. I don't love the business of the DJ business anymore, but I still love the performance of it. I used to, know exactly what all my numbers. If you ask me what my numbers are now, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't even care anymore. But yeah, I see myself still doing speaking engagements, workshops, that sort of things, at least for 2 or 3 more years and maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe 20, who knows? I'm not closing any doors.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's something I think if you would just give up everything, or you stop everything, I think you'd really miss that part of it, because I've watched you as you work a room and you enjoy that connecting with people. You're that extrovert that just likes to be in a room full of people.
Yeah, I can't imagine not, being in front of people at some point. And I love to make people laugh. For me, the big, even when I do weddings, the biggest rush I get is when I bring out emotion. When I bring tears or I bring cheers. To me, the worst kind of wedding at all is the one where it's fine, they danced, it was fine. I'm like, oh,
I failed.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, anybody could do that. I want to do something more with it. So yeah, I imagine I'll do something.
A next question from a gentleman in Chicago is wondering if you'd be upset when the Cubs win the World Series and the Giants disappear into the woodwork.
The thing is, I've done a lot to extend my life, and I've gotten healthier. I don't know that I can live another 100 years to wait and see that. So probably I'll just hope they sometime make it happen, but I can't wait 100 years.
And that was from our friend Keith in Chicago there. One more. Gentleman, Pascal was wondering if you're going to be at DJ Expo this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there is a, not ready to announce just yet, but we are working right now. Hopefully in the next week or so, we'll know. We may be doing a advanced microphone skills workshop there as well. Thinking it'll probably be on the Friday following, because it goes Monday through Thursday, and hopefully on that Friday we'll do a workshop there in Atlantic City. I would be on Steve Moody's panel, but he won't invite me back.
Yeah, he probably won't.
Once you're fun size, you don't get to come back anymore. Yes, I heard you, Steve.
Let's talk. I wanted to have one to talk about the workshop. Your what was the title of it again? Your
advanced microphone skills. So we'd have 1 and 2. So
okay, yeah, the mic skills is what we've referred to it when we've talked about it and such. For those who have not attended, kind of give us a little bit of an idea of what you cover in, say, the advanced microphone skills 1.
In number 1, I think that the most important thing that we do as an MC is that very first announcement. What I see DJs do is the same thing. I mean, I can watch, and I mean good DJs. I'm not talking about really bad guys that are successful, but they go and they do the same old thing, and they don't really know how to grab everybody. So I think what you do in the beginning changes what happens later. So the first workshop that we do is dedicated entirely to that opening announcement, going into introductions or whatever you do next, and then moving it forward from there. And so we really break it down. We start with show me what you do now, because the difference with how I teach workshops and how some others do it is that I really go, so I'm working with John Young. I want to go, what can John Young do? I don't want John Young to do Randy Bartlett's method. I want to see what does he bring that you can do something with. So I watch theirs first, and then I go, okay, now let's tweak that around and create the results that you want. So we start with that, and then we sort of morph it into, now let's try the new improved version. And it's dramatic. And I think if you do that, then when you come back after dinner and you're trying to get everybody's attention, I just had this discussion on Facebook with somebody who was saying, well, no, you always have to say something before the announcement or they won't hear it. But it's a guy who hasn't yet learned that if you do it right in the beginning, when I come back out after dinner, 2 words into my announcement, I have everybody's attention, 100%, absolutely every time. I don't have to do the, all right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it's my, just do the announcement. So that's what we work on in 1. And then in 2, we do all the other announcements. So we do the cake, bouquet, garter, first dance, parents' dances, finale, all the other parts, because those, once you learn what's in number 1, then the others are really sort of tricks that you can do to get better. But it's understanding the technique of how to own the room at the beginning, because most DJs are so busy asking for their attention, they never get around to knowing how to get their attention in the first place. I don't tell people to clap ever. I mean, I just don't tell people to clap. And I guarantee I have more applause and cheers at a wedding than many DJs that you would see who are constantly going, come on, put your hands together, make some noise, give it up. I don't ever do that.
So let's dig into that just a little bit and such. I'm trying to find ways we can dig into things, but not go too much into what's covered in the workshop. So let's talk about the getting an applause line. For those who don't understand what that concept is, it's the idea that you're not having to ask them to clap, but you're going to set it up so they will. What are some ways that are common to do that without, hey, put your hands together?
Well, people know when to clap, but they need 2 things. They need a reason and an opportunity. If given a reason and an opportunity, people will clap. So what we do, instead of giving them a reason and an opportunity, is we just tell them to clap. So they'll do it, but they're doing it as trained seals, Arr, 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 arr.
Yep.
But the problem with that is, while they'll clap, it's contrived. And I always do the example of it. It's like a wife who says to her husband, "Tell me you love me," and he goes, "I love you." She goes, "Well, that doesn't count because I just told you to do it." Like, well, okay, you have to get them to do it on their own. So we want to give them a reason and an opportunity. So a really typical thing, at the beginning of a reception, people will come out and say, "Good evening, welcome to the fabulous Hilton Hotel. Tonight we're going to be blah," and then it's like, la, 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 la. And people stop and they listen for a second, and then they tune it out. We're in a world where we have to have, we're watching TV with a scroll across the bottom in addition to the TV show, with our iPad in our lap, and answering emails over. I mean, we can't just be focused on one thing. So asking people to listen to you for 20 or 30 seconds is too long. So, for me, when I step out at the beginning of a wedding reception, I say, "Good evening, welcome to John and Lori's wedding reception." Everybody cheers. And if you say it correctly, that's all you have to do. And now you go into things that really matter. So if you watch any great, I heard Steve mentioned earlier, Ryan Seacrest. I mean, Ryan was really brilliant at getting people to applaud. And I know it's a studio audience and they probably have applause signs and all of that. But he would deliver the line, and he knew there were times when he would say, turn to him and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, John Young," and he would just do this with his hands. And that's a little clue that we're going to clap now. But when you see DJs who tell people to clap, or whatever the thing is, they do it over and over and over. So I try to avoid all of that and just give them a reason and an opportunity. So the reason is, if I say, "Welcome to John and Lori's wedding reception," that's a reason. But people say, "Welcome to John and Lori's wedding reception. My name is Randy," and blah, blah. So there's no opportunity. I guess we're not clapping.
Yep.
So now the pause, wait for it to occur, let it go.
Go ahead.
I just that's what we work on, how to say it and then how to pause. The power of the pause is everything. And people step right over the top of applause lines. And sometimes, we're going to say something. Sometimes people applaud. We don't even know it's coming, right? And they just like, well, I didn't even think of that as an applause line, but it was. And then DJs will just step all over it. And you have to be willing to go, wait, hang on. I've delivered love stories where at the end of the love story, I'm building up to this really powerful ending. And as we're getting near the end, all of a sudden the audience just completely bursts into applause. Now I could finish my script, which I worked so hard on, or I could just let the moment be. Just let it go. And so sometimes the last 3 or 4 sentences don't even get said because I wasn't going to add to it, right? So I gave them a reason. I paused enough in there that I gave them an opportunity, even if it was unintentional. So if we do those 2 things, and then everything has to be done with intention. But most DJs are so busy talking, they don't ever go, well, what am I trying to accomplish? What does it look like if I hit my goal? So my goal was to get them to applaud. But if I don't get it, so we should know. Well, then they didn't applaud. I didn't hit my goal. And what DJs do is say, oh, it was a bad audience. But it's never a bad audience. It's a bad delivery.
Randy, let's take a little bit of a break here. We got a couple of sponsors I want to get to, and then I want to come back and I want to talk about that. You mentioned let that moment be. I want to dig into that just a little bit more because I after sitting in some of your seminars, and when you first explained that to me at the seminar, it was one of those eye-opening moments for me. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. We have DJ Event Planner and Color Key LED that are 2 of our sponsors for the summer 2016 shows.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right, that's some of our sponsors for the summer 2016 shows here on DJ TV. Randy, before our break, you had mentioned the let the moment be. And now this is something that I heard you talk about it on stage, but we've also had some other presenters that have talked about this. Where did you hear this, or is this something that you came up with, or what's the origin of this?
There's almost nothing that I came up with on my own. I mean, everything was learned somewhere from somebody. And Jim Cerrone has the best phrase, and his phrase was "let it breathe," which I love. The difference in style between Randy Bartlett. You go to my workshops. People that have been to my workshops know I'm the guy who very gently goes, "Shut up! God, you're going to stop talking." So, Jim Cerrone is "let it breathe." Because he's a gentleman, me not so much. So that's what I tried. That's where I first heard that phrase from, let it breathe. And I thought, that's really it, because you have to let it breathe. And it can be something as simple as the end of a father-daughter dance, which is a touching, sentimental moment. And you look over and dad is taking this moment to wrap his arms around the bride, and they're really hugging. And then I watch DJs go, how about a nice hand for the bride and her dad? I'm like, no. And again, Randy says, shut up. And Jim Cerrone says, let it breathe.
Let it breathe. And again, let's continue on with that concept. Okay, so now the father-daughter, the song is fading out, and he's giving her a warm embrace. Now, the cool thing about that is the audience is going, especially if you've set them up earlier, they're going to do what we want them to do at that moment, which is to react to that moment.
Yeah, and it really is. And there's so many and you have to think about, like, you should know, how is that song ending? Does it have a cold end? Does it have, if you're doing, for example, if you're doing a voiceover in there for a father-daughter dance, a lot of times right at the, depends on how the song ends, at the very end, all of her words may have been at the beginning, but at the very end on those last few notes, you may hear, I love you, Daddy. And then that's just the moment when he grabs her and hugs her. And that's the moment when we have to let it breathe back up and just let it go. Now, we have to talk again at some point. But I see it all the time. And it can be an introduction into the room. It can be the end of a toast. Best man who just slays the toast. It's incredible. It's awesome. And when it's over, the DJ jumps in with some cute, funny remark or whatever. It's like, give it a second. Let that moment be on its own, and you can transition out of that. But there's things you can do besides the microphone. I mean, you can transition with music, with lights, with other things. But yeah, I think we have to let those moments breathe. That's what we cover a lot in our level 2. Level 1 is about beginning the night, and then level 2 is now how do we transition? We're going to go from, because those are real different moments. When we go from a first dance, which is all about romance, to a father-daughter dance, which isn't hopefully romance at all, right? It's tender, it's sentimental, but it's not romantic. And then, but DJs treat it exactly the same way. And it should be a different moment. And so like for me, and I would give people different advice. For me, I'm usually the same age as the father of the bride, or sometimes now even a little older, right? So when I'm doing that, I talk directly to the dad. That's who I'm relating with. So, if I was bringing the dad out to the dance floor, I would say, John, come on out. This is the moment that you've been waiting for her entire life. And I'm looking directly at him, and I'm talking to him directly. Although I'm on the microphone, it's right there. But if I was 23, I don't think that plays the same way.
I would agree.
So then maybe at that point, if you're 23, you look at the bride and you say, now you get to dance with your dad. Mm-hmm. So you have to. So that's why I'm looking for strengths. And I mean, I cover in ours. How old is the DJ? Is it a big person? Is it a small person? The DJ. Is it a male or female? You do things differently, male and female. There's things that I hammer into all of our female MCs. Never go out there with a clipboard. Never ever go out there with a clipboard. But a male can. But it's because a female with a clipboard is the coordinator.
Coordinator, yeah.
Right. It's the coordinator, and you lose all of your strength as MC. So go out there with anything else. You can have your iPad, you can have a binder, but don't go with a clipboard. That's the worst thing you can do. But a male DJ can do that. So I really try go with everything on those and work on people's strengths on that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Got a couple of questions, I think here. One coming from Gerald is wondering if there's a 1% solution disc coming out on transitions.
Okay, I hate Gerald. Yes, as a matter of fact, listen, there is one. That's volume 6, which is due out in the summer of 2014. So we're getting close to having that ready. But there is a really, really, really big announcement we'll be making about that soon that will blow people away. I will say this, it will be well worth the wait. Something that nobody's expecting on volume 6, which is part of small percentage, 1% of the delay. Most of it's my procrastination.
Randy, we're going to take one more break here, but and then when we get back, let's talk about the discs, because there's people watching who have not heard of any of the 1% solution discs. So, gang, we're going to take a little commercial break here for our sponsors, and we'll be back to talk about the 1% solution DVD series.
Okay.
Top Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
So, Randy, for our final little segment here tonight, let's talk about the 1% solutions discs. But I want to kind of take a step back. What got you to be thinking or to create that 1% solution kind of mastermind process?
In the very beginning, I was doing seminars on performance, and you can't talk about performance. It's like it's like Facebook, and everybody goes, "Well, how do you do such and such?" And how do you type inflection, right? So it's hard to do. So I started bringing video clips. I would put it on a DVD. I'd play the DVD. It was really kind of a mess back then. And people loved the video clips. Every time I would speak, they go, "Can I get a copy of that video clip?" So that's where the idea came from. I had purchased Bobby Morgenstein's Bar and Bat Mitzvah video set. It was like $400 for VHS things, and it was huge. I made so much money off it. I thought it was incredible. And there was nothing out there that was any good on weddings. There were a couple of them out there, but there was just nothing good. And so I took this big gamble. It's like, I have no idea if anybody's going to buy this, if they're going to want it. We made our first one. It was the first one that had, decent production and good content. And then one went over really well. And then everybody said, you should make another one. And so we did. And then, now we have several. But that's how it came to be. Originally, it was just me trying to answer, how can I get a copy of that video clip? And so we put them on. I'm a huge fan of video.
Yeah. And there's some different materials that I've purchased over the years that have paid back tenfold. And I have to say that the 1% Solution DVDs, when the first time I got that first disc and watched it again, and the ideas and such, and much of it was semi-common sense stuff, but I just never thought about it. And by you bringing it up and just it's like, wow, there's some great information there. Good stuff. So thank you for making those. You've helped a lot of us in the industry.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the things that I do is that I'm an analyzer. So, when I'm performing and I'm watching, I'm not just saying, okay, people are dancing, but I'm looking at who's dancing and why are they dancing and why aren't those people dancing? How are they reacting? And so I don't just do things out of habit. It's always out of intention. And that was what we ended up doing. And I had to really think about, how am I going to explain this in such a way that it makes sense for everybody? So all through, one of the reasons it makes transition so difficult is it has to be done on video, but showing a transition on video is really difficult because they're not usually the videographer is moving the camera and going away. You're not either good or bad transitions. So we do have enough, but finding them has been very difficult. So
yeah, I can understand, because there's so many aspects in a successful transition. I want to be able to see what's going on here, and I'd like to see what the DJ, how they're doing, or the MC's doing it, and I also want to see crowd response, because those things all work together to create what you're doing. No, they're asking, is this live? Because you mentioned 2014. No, he didn't misspeak. Yes, this is live, and you got to know the backstory on that.
Yes, it's due out in summer of 2014.
Yes.
It's a little late. I no longer predict dates.
That's so good. That's a
newsletter.
Yeah. For those of you watching, we've got one more show tonight. I just wanted to put it to let you guys know that the link will be in the description and such below, so you guys can go to our fourth show where we're going to be talking news. Yeah, we time warp back to 2014. Randy, the discs, kind of give us what each one covers.
So volume 1, the original is called The Essentials. It's really everything from aesthetics to acoustics to setup, finales, really everything to do with performance at all kinds of events. We reshot it last year before last, because it was a little dated. And so we reshot it. There's a lot of clips in there of an event we put together specifically for it, but there's also a lot of live clips. And with the video that we just redid, it's all new videos in there now. So that's number 1. That's what you should start with. Number 2 is a 2-disc set. It's weddings and master of ceremonies. So there's an entire about 3 hours worth of information on weddings, and it's really very specific, all of the different aspects of a wedding. And then there's a separate DVD on there, a seminar I did on being the master of ceremonies. So those two things tied together. Volume 3 is called The Seminars. It's 3 full-length seminars that I've done at Mobile Beach shows. Volume 4 is, actually my favorite is Volume 4. It's called Behind the Scenes. And we put a camera, followed me around at a couple of weddings with a camera and put a mic on me, and you hear everything that happens behind the scenes and how it happens. So when I'm talking to the best man before the toast, you hear the conversation. When I'm talking to the videographer and the catering staff and the guests and clearing the pathway and my staff, and anything that goes on behind the scenes, you see it, and then we show you the results of that. How we create a spontaneous standing ovation where it's just, blown away, but it's created. So that's Volume 4. Volume 5 is how they do that. I did that with Mike Anderson. That's more tech-related things. It's doing the shadow entrance and all the stuff with the monograms and the projectors and low-lying fog. And one of the things I talk about a lot is doing the editing back of vows, of toasts, and laying those in over the finale. To me, the most important thing, the one thing I would never give up of all the cool things I do is that. All of that specifically is how do you record it, how do you edit it, how do you lay it in. So we use screen capture software, so we go through all of those parts. Volume 7, 6 is transitions, which is not out. Volume 7 is projectors. That was with Mike Anderson, and that is everything you can do with a projector that you would never have thought of. It's not just, for a long time it was just slideshows, and then it was monograms, but we're doing everything you can imagine. So it's a million uses so that your projector doesn't sit in your warehouse anymore. It goes out every weekend and makes you some money. And then there's one more called Tools, which Mike Anderson put out, and it's all of the gobos, templates to make, and photos, all those sort of things for monograms. So you can do a monogram with a client in 5 minutes, create a custom motion monogram in 5 minutes that will blow them away.
Nice.
And there is, by the way, right now, a sale on all the products through June 1st. So if you go to dj1%solution.com and go to the specials page, there's $100 off on the full set. The original one is $19 right now. The original first one, not the remade, but the original one is $19. So if you want to just get started.
Yeah, it's a great place and well worth your $19 for sure. The link is below in the description, guys, so you can go check that out. Click the link. You can pop out to Randy's website, check out the specials page there. Good stuff, good stuff. Randy, our time tonight is up, my friend. Thank you very, very much for being on tonight.
It was my pleasure, and Casey, I'm sorry, but it's an even-numbered year.
That means we're going to be seeing the posts throughout in your all year on all baseball season.
It's already been going on, but for KC, it's this year for sure. Again.
All right, thank you, Randy. Have a great evening,
Bye,
gang. We'll be back with you in about 5 minutes. Link in the description below to get to our video number 4 tonight. See you then.